I'm going to talk about my experience going to the Eclipse Festival. So the Eclipse Festival was my first festival. It was my first sort of big festival. Except that's not true, because there was a time when I went to a place in Denmark when I was really young. I think I was only like 20 or 19 or 18. But I don't really count that festival, but that was a big, huge festival. I think it was over 35,000 people at that one. It was called Roskilde. And it had like DJ Tiesto, which is now no longer with us. And it had The Killers, and it had Björk, and it had a bunch of other really cool music artists. However, I was so shit-faced drunk at that time in my life. I don't really remember much, so I don't really count it, because it feels like a whole nother lifetime, you know? In this one physical life, that this body, right? I feel like I've lived many lifetimes. So the Eclipse Festival 2024, that's what I'm talking about today. I went sober, except I did partake in microdose of chocolate mushrooms and a tiny microdose of golden teacher mushroom, and that's it. Like, I did that like once or twice. And then I also did eat some kava gummies as well, and I did drink some cacao as well. Overall, my experience was potent. I think that's the word I can use, potent, very potent. I told myself, I made a commitment, and my deepest intention going into this festival was to thrive through it, to come out thriving. And I think there's a lot of power to setting intentions. And because that was my intention, I naturally lived in a way and moved in a way that supported me to thrive. And what were those qualities that supported me to thrive? First off, I saw that I was responsible for my experience, my own attitude, how I respond, my own energy, my own state of mind, and this, like, what I'm vibrating and how I'm choosing to see. That is what creates my experience and my outlook. That is what ultimately creates a shitty experience or a really epic, potent, nourishing, deeply medicinal experience. So that was one of the things I definitely had to, I hold that as a truth, because that's how I thrive, by seeing that I'm the one responsible for my experiences. Even if life seemingly is unfolding in a challenging way, it's really the ultimate challenge becomes bigger when I am actually reacting and judging and resisting what is happening, versus just saying, wow, look what's happening, and opening to the moment and seeing it as just as much divine as a moment of receiving a blissful massage on a beautiful paradise island, you know? Like, to separate some experiences and say they are less worthy of my opening and presence than others. Like, I'm here to open, I'm here to see God in all of it, and I'm here to take a breath with it, and to breathe open with it, no matter what it is. And so that was one of the things, for sure. And then with that comes, in order to thrive for me at this Eclipse Festival 2024, which was a pretty interesting place, but I thrived. I truly thrived. I lived right above the psytrance stage, which was basically going all the time. The sun stage and the ether stage and sun stage were both psytrance, with very potent speakers. And yeah, they were pretty much going all the time. If the sun stage was taking a break for about 30 minutes or 1 hour over the span of 24 hours, the ether stage was definitely guaranteed poppin'. So there was nonstop my camp. Luckily, we were not like down right by it. We were actually a little bit up the hill in a really beautiful like pasture area up the hill with wildflowers, with a beautiful view. So we were up the hill a little bit, which felt really nice. And by the way, I love hills. Like my legs love to walk up hills. So for me, it was a perfect spot. Not too far from the festival grounds, only like seriously like probably 6-minute walk or 7-minute walk. But it was just like, yeah, nice to still feel a little bit further away because it was up the hill. And for me, hills, I could walk hills all day long, you know, I love them. So one of the other things I needed to do in order to thrive at this festival was to feel it all, to open to feeling. And so that meant when I saw things, when I saw the people snorting drugs, when I saw people collapsing, people being so fucked up, when I saw children looking miserable and really like, oh my God, why did my parents bring me here? When I saw that, and when I saw like young people, especially the younger generation, like, you know, the 20-year-olds, like 21, 22, 23, 24, like when I saw these kids kind of there, I could tell they were taking a lot of substances, drinking alcohol, some sort of balloon stuff, or some sort of machine that goes psh, it's like some sort of thing they take in their mouth, snorting ketamine, blow, meth, smoking cigarettes. And just like when I saw that, and especially when I saw the people collapsing and twitching and like totally fucked up, I chose to open, and I chose to let the tears run, and I chose to shake, and I chose to let that energy move, versus like it could be easy in those moments to actually go hard and to get cold and to get numb to what I'm seeing and experiencing in the reality. But instead, I just let myself feel the reality of what I was witnessing. And it's quite beautiful, because then when I fully allowed myself to just feel it, I didn't really need to judge it as wrong or as less than. It just was reality, and I could simply see it as a part of life, right? And I will say though that it was really hard, and it kind of almost inspires me to, if I ever would come back to a big festival like this, I would probably want to be like an angel fairy person that comes around with like proper hydration, with like electrolytes and mineral shots, and like just like a tray of it, and to offer it out to people. And even maybe like a little pamphlet that talks about like how potent and beautiful it can be to be sober, not from like a cultish religious like Jesus is your savior type of way, but like just from a place of ultimately like being sober and hydrating ourselves properly and getting good sleep and sitting with our deepest pains, and like walking the path of going within. And this is ultimately the best drug. So for all these people that love drugs and like these psychedelic things, like I would almost want to be like this angel fairy person that comes and reminds them that like, hey, who you truly are, your eternal self, is the ultimate drug. So if I ever go to a big festival like that again, that's going to be the only thing I'm there for, to be an angel fairy support person that says, come into my little space, and I'll have like this white silk sparkly fabric, and they can come and sit there, and I can give them a download and a channeled message, and perhaps support them to choose not to drink another alcohol drink or snort another line, that God knows what is in that. Even that was the reason why so many people were having overdoses at this festival, collapsing, because a lot of the drugs were laced and had like fentanyl in it, too much. Yeah, it just is really sad in my opinion, and I've already cried tears for this, so I'm not crying right now because I've already like, you know, been broken open from seeing the insanity of humanity basically. Another way that I was able to thrive during this festival was that I brought in all my own water. When they said that there was going to be water on site, I didn't for 1 second think, oh great, I'm going to drink that water. I knew in my whole being that that's not the water I want to drink. So I brought in enough water for the whole festival for me and for me to share also. It was great. I mean, that's the water I know I'm good with. And I also had minerals. I had Ormus Gold, which is a really great mineral. And I also had chlorella tablets, which is very alkalizing and has a lot of minerals and vitamins. And so I just brought a lot of nutrient dense foods with me because I was committed to thriving. So, and I knew that festival foods is probably not like super nutritious. And it was also very overly expensive. It was super expensive. My experience was like the first night I was pretty shocked when I was told that the psytrance stage would be going on for basically the whole time. I was like, wait, so we're not going to get any more quiet moments? Because I was like loving sitting there, being there in nature. It was so nice to arrive early, to be able to drop in, like, and walk bare feet on the earth and connect to the flowers and the birds and the land. And truly, like, by the time the festivals really truly got going on Friday, I felt like I was at home. The whole space felt like my home, which that was the beautiful thing about arriving early. And we arrived with ease, by the way. The security people were all so nice and loving and kind. It felt a little interesting. I was like, what is this really? But whatever, I don't care. Like, the people were all really lovely and kind and funny, and I was just goofing out with the security guards. That first night, it was just Wednesday night. I was like, oh, they're gonna be playing music all the time, 24/7? And someone tells me, yeah, the psytrance stage is like the only stages that like to go on all the time. They never break. They never take a break. And that was a little bit scary, and I got a little reactive from that in the beginning. I was like, fuck, I can't stand that music. How do you even move to that fucking music? Like, how much, you gotta be on so much drugs to even be able to enjoy that shit. And so I was very reactive and panicky, and I was like, we gotta find another place to live. And we were like trying to find another place to live somewhere, like looking at other camp spots. But the thing is, I made peace with the psytrance. I was like, you know what? This is for me. This is here for me. This wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for me to open and to expand further. So I changed my attitude. I got curious, and I chose to seek to understand psytrance more versus judge it and resist it. And I opened myself up to the medicine of that kind of music. And to be honest, guys, by the end of this, or like even by the second, third day, I was being put to sleep to psytrance. And whenever I had been out journeying out in the festival grounds and not been hearing psytrance because we were far away, we were at other stages, but when we came back to our area with the psytrance, it felt like, oh, that feeling of home. I got used to it and I liked it. I started noticing how it was actually impacting me in a positive way. I was feeling very organized, focused. I was centered. The only thing that was painful about the psytrance was my own judgments of it and my own resistance to opening to it and letting it like love me. But when I let the psytrance love me, when I opened up to the love that it is, I was totally okay. You know, it was just this energy shift that needed to happen in me for me to receive it as that versus receiving it as something harmful or stressful. I just changed my attitude and my mind, and everything changed. The dubstep, the big speakers, the beautiful people, the humans that were all dressed up, they look like art installations. So beautiful how people dressed up. I was just like amazed and so attracted to the humans and the way that they adorned their bodies. So many sexy humans. Because, you know, I didn't really dress up as much. I wore what I was comfortable in and also what I felt sexy in, which honestly, to me, being comfortable is feeling the most sexy to me. When I try to dress up too much, like in sexy clothes, like what people would say is more sexy, I don't really feel comfortable, and then the sexiness goes away from me, because to me sexy is actually comfortable clothes, feeling comfortable and like, fuck yeah. So I did dance my ass off a lot. I danced my ass off to Scream and to Of the Trees and to some other like dubstep type music, because they have a lot of bass. I'm a bass lover. When the bass hits me, I just get like feeling like I'm being fucked by God, like truly, in the most pleasurable of ways. You know, I even feel it now as I speak it. I'm like, wow, it is the best feeling ever to have a great speaker system, sound system with deep bass music. I fucking love it. So yeah, and I you know, every night I think I at least got like 3 hours of deep or sleep. I wouldn't say deep. I'd say 3 hours of sleep. I definitely inhaled a lot of dust. There was a lot of dust. There were moments when I felt really hot and overwhelmed, but because I had really proper water and listened to myself in those moments, I always took care and made sure that I met my needs. I did breath work in the mornings. I listened to potent affirmations in the mornings. I made friends with a really beautiful big rock next to my tent, which was my support ally through the whole festival. I also made sure to tune into the sound and the songs of the birds, even as the psytrance was playing all the time. I made sure to tune into nature, because nature was my ally. Nature and the land itself was what was supporting me to be there. And truly, I didn't come to this festival for the big party stuff. I came to witness and be in deep ceremony for the eclipse, to enter into that sacred holy day of the moon covering the sun and us going into darkness, and really honoring that the darkness and the light is just as potent. And I am not afraid of the darkness, because I am the light in the darkness. And the darkness in humanity is something I saw so much at this festival, the insanity. But I opened my heart to it. I let it break my heart open, and it connects me and has shown me and opened me up to being and living so much more in this space of this infinite love that is who I am, this infinite energy. So the blessing of the pain and the darkness and the destruction of this festival, the really dark shit, has been that I allowed it to break my heart open more to showing me who I really am, which is infinite potential and power. And I'm not afraid of the dark, because I am the light in the dark. So the festival was really beautiful for me. It was a nourishing experience. I feel some sadness in my heart from seeing and hearing about people that have been traumatized. I feel sadness about the deaths. I feel compassion and sadness and empathy for anybody that was hurt or harmed or traumatized during this festival, and that especially for the people that didn't bring water and that had to drink the festival water and that then woke up feeling sick, and to the people that got injured and then didn't get the help they needed from the medical teams because there weren't that many medical teams. I feel sadness for the woman who lost her father because he had to walk so far to the camp. I feel sadness for the people that broke their foots or ankles or bones because they were stepped on. And especially for the humans that overdosed and died from drugs, and the fact that those deaths probably won't be reported. I feel sadness for the woman that was laying there twitching, got carried away by the medic team at the psytrance stage. And I also feel faith and trust in humanity, even despite all this. Because the only thing I can do from this is become a better human being myself, is become a more loving human being, a more sober and awake human being than ever before. That is what this festival has shown me and taught me and made me realize deeper than ever before. And to be a more sober, better human being, in my case, is to live my purpose, is to do that which feels most aligned with my soul, and to know that nature rewards courage, nature loves courage, and that I choose to be courageous at these times, because I will not break down. I will break open to my power, to my infinite potential, and I will live my infinite potential in this lifetime. I will choose to be who I really am in my greatest version right now, not later, not tomorrow, not when I did this, and that, not when I did all those things. Now. It is now and only now that exists. And it is in this moment that we show up in our fullest power. No matter what is happening for us, we can do that. And it's also about self-love, deep self-care, deep self-respect, and deeper listening to what we need. That is what it's about. That's what this festival has shown me. Oh my God. And dancing in the daytime barefoot for this guy creature, so much joy. Oh my gosh. And the potent elixirs that they sold there that were alcohol free with just like potent herbs, I really appreciated that so much. And the beautiful humans, especially my neighbors. Some of my neighbors were so sweet and epic, and the creativity, you know, I love that so much as well. So that was some of my Eclipse festival experience and like learnings and lessons. I'm curious what yours were and how your experience was. Please share in the comments. All right, bye.